Welcome back to Running Your Best Life. I'm Victor, your host, and I'm here with my co host, Adele. Today, we are talking about a topic that's close to every runner's heart, especially those of us over 40, and that's the mindset and visualization. Because let's face it, as the years go by, staying strong, motivated, and confident in our running becomes as much about the mindset as it is about the body.
Victor, that's so true. So true. Runners over 40 always often ask the same questions. How do I keep my motivation up? How do I deal with getting slower? How do I stay confident despite maybe some injuries, maybe some setbacks? Today, we're going to talk about a bunch of those different things and really truly look at how we can stay motivated, but also how to use some of the tools that you and I can suggest to our listeners and to our clients. So I'm excited.
Yes, absolutely. Because one of the biggest challenges runners mention is simply staying motivated. I've heard master runners say, I don't have the same drive or mental focus I used to have. Adele, how do you see motivation shifts for runners in their 40s and beyond?
So, y'all know I'm in my late 60s. And I'll be very honest with you, the fire doesn't really stop burning when you slow down or when you change activities. And I think the biggest thing that we always have to stay in tune is what is deep inside our heart and our spirit. The body may slow us down and the body may stop us from running altogether, but that doesn't stop us from being healthy and taking care of ourselves and finding an alternate activity. For myself, I do a lot more cycling and swimming than I did when I was running so much, because when I was running so much, I was also playing a high level of competitive tennis. So the legs really needed to be attended to. I needed to stay off of them, do some running on the ellipticals if it was really bad weather or some heavy rain. I didn't want to take a chance on slipping, because then I'm out not only of my competitive tennis, but I'm also out of maybe the training on my marathons. But I think the biggest thing that Victor and I have both found, and this is a key for all of us that get a little bit older, try some new experiences, some new activities. For example, the triathlons. If you want to pick up the swimming, it saves your hips and your knees as you get older. If you want to pick up the cycling, same thing. It takes the impact off your body, but you do have to learn the proper technique so you're not pulling muscles in your neck and back. The other thing is that you're doing it with friends. And a lot of people that are getting older are finding other ways to still meet their competitive urges, obviously their fitness goals as well, but also to have fun with what they're doing. And it's not necessarily about the time on the clock, PRs, and how many medals can I win at one, two, or three, finishing in the top three. So that's how I look at it. It's how you feel deep down inside and where you are in life. Remember, too, and Victor and I have shared this with y'all from the very beginning, your seasons of life change as well. So your motivation is going to change. In your 20s and 30s, and Victor was just sharing with me before we talked that he's got some very young men doing the triathlon, half Ironman with him in a few weeks. 21, 22. Y'all met Ethan. I think Ethan is 21 or 22 as well. They don't have the same responsibilities they're going to have in their 30s and 40s. If they do marry or have a significant relationship, maybe children, maybe taking care of relatives, and maybe having a commitment and responsibilities to move to another location and make new friends and find new groups. So remember that the season of life that you're in is extremely important on how you can train and your time management to achieve the goals you want to achieve.
Yeah, you get it absolutely right, Adele. And one of the issues that us, as we get older, of course, everybody's in a different boat, but one of the things that comes up is comparing ourselves to our younger selves, and then having that demoralize ourselves or demoralize themselves because we're comparing ourselves to our younger selves when we used to run 7.5 minute miles, whatever it was.
Mm.
You're no longer there, and that can be disenergizing. But if that's why I like to practice the gratitude practice, and you can incorporate in your gratitude practice just the fact that you're still out there, that you're still running, or that you're trying, that you're doing, that you're getting out. And
Right.
if you start with that point and remain radically present, then you kind of let go of what it used to be, and you focus on being, still being healthy, being able to be out there, and with gratitude. Because let's face it, when you are running, and especially if you're doing marathons, I think that if you're still running marathons, you're like in the percent, no matter what age you are, you're in the only 1% of the population
Okay.
runs marathons.
Right. Right.
So that in itself is already, you are in an exclusive group of people.
Right. Very exclusive. And y'all got
Yeah.
to remember something. As Victor's talking about this, I keep reminding myself, y'all have heard the name Jeff Galloway and several other names like Jeff, Bill Rogers, all those runners, Frank Shorter from the early years of distance running. We're talking the late 60s, early 70s into the Olympics that took place in the mid 70s when it was premier running just took a boom, right? But these guys have learned as they aged, and some of them are still running, they do a run walk method or they go to walking. It's like most competitive athletes will find a way to do what they love to do with modifications. If I go do workouts, because I've had shoulder surgery on both shoulders, I'm not going to lift heavy weights over my head. It fatigues and irritates my muscles. So if the next day I want to swim, I'm not going to enjoy my swim because I've overdone my muscles. That is one major modification I can use as an example. I may use a 10 pound weights. I may use a 5 pound weight if it's a different kind of motion. But the key is that that run walk method is huge, and a lot of younger runners and younger competitors, and I say younger because of the chronological age on their bodies as well as on the time clock, they are utilizing a run walk method to do their training. And there's a reason for it. And I think Victor will share this with y'all in just a moment after I finish my comment. Because he's working with several athletes, not necessarily are they older. They may have had some medical issues. Y'all met Crystal. She's doing the run walk method and is blown away by how much her time per mile is lowered because of that. The key is that you're saving your body to do what you want to do. And that's a huge component of aging, both physically and mentally, to achieve what you want to achieve. That run walk method is a fabulous run walk method. And I've been at the Disney Princess Weekend with Jeff Galloway and catching up to him at mile 11 with his group and watching how these people are just so joyful. They're not getting hurt. They're going to all be tired. We're all going to be tired. The elements always wear you down as well. If it's hot, cold, windy, whatever. But the key is that you're achieving your goal that you worked for. You've gone through the journey and now you're there enjoying it. So I think Victor may validate a little bit more in that run walk method because I think this is one of the programs that he's using with some of his athletes to get them to their race day. Am I correct, Victor?
Yeah, absolutely. You're absolutely right. And one of my key signature methodologies of both the run walk method and just running itself, I like to focus on cadence counting. I teach a lot of the cadence counting. And the reason I do that is for this radical presence that you're able to do when you're actually counting the cadence. I think I've shared this with you and with my audience that when I first qualified for the Boston Marathon, I actually counted my cadence the whole marathon doing that. But that's what it did. It got me really present because you are actually right on the count and you start to be able to focus on where your foot is landing, how your posture, where your head is, all those little things that make such a huge difference. But what I've noticed also in the area of motivation, for example, there are times when you have a workout that you're supposed to do, and you just not feeling the energy to get out there and run. But when you can say, okay, I'm going to practice this method, whether it's, maybe I'll start off with my gratitude practice, and then in the first mile, I'm going to count my cadence. And then what happens is all your focus is that 1 mile or half a mile, or that count to 100, for example. And then the mind doesn't have to think about,
Right.
you got 4 more miles, or oh my gosh, how am I going to get to mile 5, or how hard is this? All you're counting is like, just give me to the 10 count. And those come in very handy
Right.
when you are, for example, having a hard time coming an uphill.
Right.
You start to guess that, you know what, by the time you count to 200 steps, you're going to be at the top.
Right.
And it just makes it that much easier, because all I have to worry about is the 200. You're not thinking, I'm not going to be able to do this whole marathon. All you're worried is, by the time I get to 200, I'll be at the top, and things will be different after that.
Right.
Mm.
That's a great motivate. We were talking a little bit about motivation. That's a great motivating technique because it takes the mind away from the running. It takes the mind away from fatigue that the body might be experiencing. Say mile 10 at a half marathon. That's usually a very definitive mile for a lot of half marathoners who are very, very good half marathoners, right? They're very good marathoners, but in that half marathon, that's kind of their tired point. And what I've always told friends that I've run with, people that I've helped train, clients, give yourself the grace at those moments to back your speed down a little bit. And what the reason I'm saying that, it's a motivator to count your cadence, because the mind is not thinking, I'm tired, I want to slow down, I want to walk the whole mile, I want to walk the last 3 miles in. What it's doing is it's retraining your focus on something definitive, something tangible to you and in your mind and spirit. So that next mile, all of a sudden your energy doesn't drop, it starts to improve, it starts to increase again. You start to see the mile marker for mile 11, and you say, oh wow, I'm feeling pretty good, I'm going to hydrate a little bit more at the water station. All of a sudden you're still counting, and now you're hitting mile marker 12. But when you're at that last mile marker and you've got one more mile to go, everybody starts, we get so excited. The key is that you're still counting, so you're
Yeah.
saving your body the fatigue from ups and downs and fast and slow. There's also some other little methods that you can use to take the mental fatigue away as well. A lot of times we tend not to focus on our surroundings as much when we're focused on the straightaway of the route. So when we're counting our cadence, we can relax a little bit our visual. We can see what's around us a little bit, because in our mind, we're already on a regular journey, a regular cadence. So seeing the trees or seeing someone up ahead that's really cute, you might want to catch, or wearing a shirt that you like, or maybe something that you're familiar with, and you want to catch that person. You're staying on cadence, but you're also distracting the mental fatigue that goes with the physical fatigue. Then all of a sudden you're back getting to that 11-mile marker and that 12-mile marker, and the focus is spot on to your finish line. So there's a couple of traits and a couple of tricks that you can use when you get to those points. And I know in the Ironman, you get to those points on each of those three events because your body is fatiguing, and you've got to find a way to pick up your energy again, but to also to release the mental energy that you've been expending on the fatigue issues with your body.
Yes, and I think that I use it sort of the same principles that apply to the meditation
Mm-hmm.
sort of apply when you're doing some of those runs, especially if you're running by yourself. Now, it's a whole different story when you're running with others. Your focus may be a little different, but hopefully by then, a lot of these things are more automatic, that
Mm-hmm.
you taught your body to keep checking its posture, keep checking on things. But even when I've run with other uh, friends, when you get to like mile 10, 15 miles, you notice that everybody gets quiet. We start up, yap, 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 and you're having conversation when you're first smile, how are you? And all of a sudden, about mile 10, everybody's quiet. Even when you're a group of 4 or 5, everybody starts to get really quiet. And you know that the fatigue is setting in. And that's where those mental minds come in, where you're sort of in a meditative state. And you hit the nail on the head that you're learning to redirect your attention.
Mhm.
I feel that because it's the same principles that the meditation teaches you,
Mhm.
become good at focusing on certain things, on being able to direct your attention to wherever you want it. And that's, in this case, you want to be as efficient as possible. But that same skill you can spill over to other goals in your life, because I am a big believer that wherever your attention, wherever you are able to hold attention, that's where the energy is going to go. In the case of running efficiency, sometimes when you're really struggling for energy or soreness of the body, for example, your quads are
Mhm.
burning, for example.
Yes, yes.
And what I have done is, rather than count with my steps that I'm taking, I'll count my swings of
Yes,
my,
yes.
my fists, my arms, and you can start to focus on different parts even of the arms at each count that you do. And what it does, you're redirecting the attention from the legs, the pain of the legs, to the strength of your hands, and you are able to engage muscles that are kind of slacking a little bit. And I think that's what happens when we overcompensate because of an injury, for example, that we don't realize that this one muscle now is taking all the strength from another muscle because it's compensating for an injury, but we're not aware of it. But if we're starting to do that focus of redirecting attention, and that's why I will switch from counting from my left leg to counting with my right leg,
Mhm.
counting with my right arm, my left arm, and engaging other muscles.
Mhm.
Yeah, and that's probably a great segue to
Yes,
visualization.
yes. I was just thinking the exact same thing because when and if you don't mind, I'm gonna piggyback a little bit on what you just said. When you redirect, you're not gonna do it in the for the very first time in a race. You're gonna use these techniques that are presented to you by your coach or by your running friends or the people that you're running with in your community. You're gonna practice them, y'all. There's nothing like preparation. Victor and I have always said that, haven't we, my friend? When
Yes.
you're prepared, you have your tools with you. You have your bike and you have your helmet. Where's your gloves? Where's your water bottles? Where's your clips? Where's your shoes? Goggles. I forgot my goggles. I forgot my number. All of a sudden, if you're not prepared, your race doesn't go, your event doesn't go as well as you would like it to because you're completely out of your realm of preparation. The biggest thing about visualization and mindset, and that's one of the key things we wanted to try to talk to y'all about today. It's not just for our older runners over 40, but there is a change in how we visualize and use our mindset as we age because we are modifying different things that we're doing and how we're doing them. But from the very beginning, that first step you take on that very first training day, you want to make sure you become aware of three things. What is your body doing, and how can I get it to work efficiently? Number two, what is my mind doing, and how can I get it to work well with my body in a flow? And number three, where's my spirit and energy? And the reason I always put that one last is without the spirit and the drive to be doing that, you're not going to do it. Without creating a base for your energy and what works to get your energy, the initiation of your energy to start an event, without that, you're going to be distracted. You're not going to work efficiently. The mind and body aren't going to start to learn how to work in a flow. So these are the things that you start to look at and start to work with. And I'm going to let Victor segue into some visualization things that he talks about with his programs and with his clients. And then I'll segue back into a couple of things on mindset and visualization too, because some of it is breathing, some of it is positive self talk, And Victor, I know, has a few things he'd like to present to y'all as well. So keep all of these things. Write them down, y'all. Write them down and practice them.
Yeah, I think that the key to the most powerful visualizations you can do is to engage all of your senses. So when you're visualizing, whether you're in bed or you're driving in traffic, but preferably when you're in bed and ready to sleep, because I do a lot of box breathing and things like that. But if I want to practice visualization at that time, that's a pretty good time once you're relaxed and you are starting to visualize yourself at on race day or whatever event you're having next. Maybe it's just a long ride, but everything going really well. And then you want to make sure that you engage all the senses again. You want to what does it look like? What does it feel like? What are you feeling? What are you hearing? Are you hearing the fans? Are you hearing people yelling your name? Um, a lot of those things. And what does it smell like? I think smell is very powerful because we don't usually are conscious of the things that we're smelling. So what does it smell like? And being able to engage all of those senses makes it for a very powerful visualization.
I think too, when you put all those things together, I know a lot of runners. Let's just take runners. When you're swimming, you're obviously feeling the sensation of the water. You're hearing things going on around you, even if it's just the muffled sounds of other swimmers while you're underwater and then making your turns and then taking your strokes. When you're on a bike, you're obviously trying to pay attention to anything that you hear that might be like a skid. But let's take a runner. A runner may have a waist belt on for distance running. A runner may carry something like a little baggie of nutrition, knowing that when the time comes time, what are you touching? When you're training, sometimes you're using music. Not on race day, y'all. Please don't use headphones on race day. It's not advisable under any means because you have to pay attention to everyone around you. You're not by yourself. The other thing about running is the smell is key because I could run down St. Charles Avenue in New Orleans. I've done it thousands of times. I know where the Wendy's is. I know where the Tasty Donuts is. I know where all the bars are when I'm running in the French Quarter for races and events because there's a smell and it's not other runners. We always know what other runners smell like. They smell like us. They smell sweaty. They smell gassy. They smell all the crazy smells that we all smell. But when you're going through an environment, sometimes you're running through a garden or a park, it really ignites your senses regardless of what the smell is. Pay attention to that. Pay attention to it because that's key in what you're going to do in the future when you encounter that type of smell to your senses. The other thing is your visual. I can run down St. Charles. I can run through the parks. I know my routes because I've done them so much. When you go somewhere new, and Victor and some of his colleagues are going to be riding the course, I believe, not if they're running the course, but riding the course for their Ironman. They have Ironman that's coming up. You become familiar with what you need to do to be safe on that course, whether you're running or cycling in your half Ironman or Ironman. If you have a visual and you've done it and you practiced it, you are prepared. Okay, I'm coming around that mountainside, and it's going to be nothing but a right turn for 2 miles all around the mountain, the base of the mountain. I've got to remember where I'm going to ride so I can cut the tangent but also to be safe in the group of cyclists. So all of those are key elements on your environment, right? The other part is what are you doing for nutrition? So the sense of taste is key as well. Am I going to take my hydration bottle around mile 15 on my bike? Am I going to be popping my wafers or my little gel pack as I hit mile 20? What is my nutrition going to be? Start to plan it, start to see it. All of a sudden, here comes mile 14. I think I need my little wafer. Okay, so my nutrition is going to kick in, and that's when I need it. I think I need to hydrate. I'm hitting mile 16. Let me hydrate. I've had my nutrition. All of those things go into getting a successful package while you're training and preparing for your event. Because when you practice it on your journey, all of those things kick in. Don't eliminate anything. Remember what you're touching on your bike. You've got your handlebars, you're in your arrow position. Are you pulling a handbrake? Excuse me. What do your clips feel like, right? How do your clips feel in your shoes? Are your shoes feeling uncomfortable? Are your feet getting hot? Are you burning? Are the feet burning when you're in mile 25 of your marathon? How do you feel and prepare all that? Because there's a lot to every part of your body and your spirit that you want to be prepared for in your visualization. And
Yeah.
just get ready. It takes time. I'm going to get to a little bit of breathing stuff too, but I want Victor to piggyback on what I was saying about the senses that he initiated with this. It's very, very important, y'all.
Yes, and I think that the more we practice, the more we can turn these visualizations into a positive experience. So, one of the key things to having a great performance is being able to enjoy the journey. But when you're incorporating visualization, because we learn from professional athletes that the one athletes that do the best are those who visualize themselves at the podium, doing their best when things go wrong, being able to overcome any obstacles that come the way. So when you are visualizing, whether it's in your training or at race day, you can start to think of what could go wrong. For example, if you're doing a triathlon and you get a flat tire, how are you going to deal with a flat tire? So if you can visualize dealing with that really well, then the mind tends to relax and say, hey, I am prepared for any obstacles that may go wrong. Any obstacles I have to overcome, you're prepared. And also, never forget to incorporate your mantras. Part of the having enjoying the journey, having fun at your event is repeating those mantras and make you feel the way you want to feel. So you're incorporating quite a few things. You're not just incorporating how it feels, but you're also incorporating how you want to feel when that foot strikes. So you're stacking sort of a few things. When that foot strikes the ground, what does it feel like? What shoe are you wearing? Are you wearing the nice with carbon fiber that feel like you're proud? And you stack a feeling of greatness. You're doing great. You're going at the cadence you want to go. You're going at the speed you want to go. You're feeling amazing. Your posture is really good. You're enjoying it. Same thing with I love visualizing me swimming. It relaxes me when I'm doing the swimming, and you can just feel the water and keep those mantras going of really floating in the water, being streamlined, being efficient, and just having a good time, then that definitely is very powerful. That's definitely going to create a great experience for you.
I think too, and I got to share something with y'all. One of my favorite coaches of all time, and he died of cancer many years ago. But if y'all have all heard of Jim Valvano, if you ever follow any of the athletes or you watch the ESPYS, it's the V Foundation. Jim won the very first, I believe he was given the very first Arthur S. Courage Award by the ESPN SB program. But the key is that when you listen to some speeches that he gave, don't don't ever quit was his mantra. But some of the things that he's done, and I've read about him, I've listened to him. I have a podcast episode I listen almost religiously when I'm on my way to swim, whether it's an easy swim or recovery swim, or I'm going to challenge myself with intervals in my swim. It's a speech he gave talking about motivation, and there's some keys that he pointed out. But one of the tricks he used with his players, and if y'all remember, I think he won two national championships, NCAA national basketball championships. One practice every season preparing for competition was cutting down the net. Now, if you are familiar with the basketball championships, the winning team has gold scissors. They climb the ladder, and each player cuts a strand of the net. Usually, the coach cuts the very last part of the net. They all have a piece of their championship net to go home with them for all of their life. So he had a practice once a season of cutting down the net, the gold scissors. Then they'd go back and look at the film of that. It becomes a reality when you put it out there, when you can see it, and when you do it. Imagine those young players at that point in time, they could see that for the rest of their season. It's like seeing the finish line of the Crescent City Classic. I've done 45 of them, and knowing that I'm running into one of my favorite places in New Orleans. I can't pass it up because it's so real to me. It's a part of my life now for 45 years at least, just that one race. But the beauty of knowing where the finish line is and how I'm coming up to it in that last 5.5 miles, it's a 10K. The finish line has changed several times over the course of the 47 years, the 48 years the run is gone. I've run every one of them, right? The beauty of feeling that is I know it. And as Victor's saying, when you get that comfort and that security of knowing something, it builds your confidence to finish strong. It builds your body's reaction to that spurt of energy, that spiritual spurt of energy, that mental, like, I can see it, I can reach it, I can do it, I'm there. And all of that is an exciting finish to a long event that you prepared for and saw the finish line, right? So keep all of these things in mind when you're using your visualization techniques. And as Victor mentioned, am I tying my shoes? Am I double knotting or triple not knotting my running shoes so that they don't fall off? Do I have a good pair of socks? Do I have all of my nutrition? If I'm set up where someone's handing it to me, do I know where they're going to be? Preparation. But the visualization of knowing where my friend Susie's going to be with my water bottle with my hydration in it, mile 20, when I was competing, was very real to me. I didn't have to think about it. She was going to be there. And if she wasn't there, then something was wrong, right? So
Yeah.
all of these things not only go into preparing your mindset, but also to preparing, and you can see it, but also being able to be successful when you get to that finish line and just have the energy in that last spurt, that last sprint down the stretch. And it's just an amazing feeling to know that you've done everything well to get to the goal that were trying to get to. So it's really a lot of fun. I love it.
Absolutely. Yeah, so let's go ahead and summarize a little bit of what we talked about today. So, when it comes to motivation, when it comes to mindset, um, what I always recommend is find a way that you're going to enjoy the journey. And that for some of them might be, um, I like definitely one of the things that helps the most is joining a club, joining a running club, somewhere having other people to do it with, and then looking forward to events. The next thing, if you're a runner, and you can have different events. For example, if you are dreaming of doing your first marathon, for example, but you can sign up for shorter races that lead up to the race, so that you have something to look forward to, making it more fun. You signed up with a group. Now you are getting ready for your 10K, and it's just more excitement because you got this race that you really want to do well, and they kind of build up. Then, what else as far as motivation?
Being aware of what your modifications have to be successful when you are a little bit older and you've changed a few things, that that leads to a more positive motivation realm because you know what your body's capable of and you're not going to push it in a different direction where you're going to get injured. So that's a big part of motivation too, my friend. Big part.
And yes, and that the realization of that you're only competing against yourself, or the yesterday, not meaning years before, not your younger self, but you want to do better than you did yesterday, or just be consistent, having that fun, and yeah, not compare yourself to your younger self or to other runners, because I see that a lot where some of the, myself included, and other older people, where they constantly asking, how come I don't run like that person? How come I can't do that? And it's like, we're all in a different thing. And if we can focus on just improving our own running on a daily basis rather than on our past selves,
Right.
then you can be ahead of the game. So that's with motivation.
And
Mm.
remember to share those successes and some of those failures that became successes with other people that you running with, exercising with, training with. Because you never know when that one moment, like when Victor said he forgot his number and he had to go all the way back and he was going to be late for the race. You never know if that'll prevent that person from making that same mistake and causing a delay and maybe getting to the start line. But also, too, remember that the beauty of sharing your journey with someone else, some of the younger people that Victor is working with, Ethan, for example, Sam is younger as well with his special concerns about the diabetic part of his life that he's training. But the biggest thing, and then we had Kevin on, who's my age and an Ironman competitor and all that. Now she's modified; she doesn't run anymore. She race walks. And why does she race walk at 68, 69 years old? She stressed her body enough that she doesn't have to anymore, but she can still compete. She can race walk without the impact and the injury potential if she started running again. Her body has done that, and now it's time to do something different. So, all this is very motivating as well. But there's a key part of all of this in our entire message today. And I think Victor's going to back me up on this because at 67, would I love to go out and run a 2 hour half marathon again? Love it. I would love to. That would be a 9 minute pace, straight on, spot on, achieving the goal I want to achieve. Am I going to be able to physically do it again? No. I'm okay with that. But I think the reason I'm okay with it, I look back at what I did when I was able to do that very consistently. And I think Victor's going to share something with you as well regarding that. When he tried so hard, his one goal was to qualify for Boston. How many races, how many marathons did it take him?
17 marathons before.
17. One set was 17, right?
Yes.
17 marathons. Y'all, it wasn't about 17 marathons and not making the cut time. It was about 18 because 17 built into the one that he got the time to run his first Boston. Y'all, the beauty of that is the success of staying with it. And when you do that, it doesn't matter the time on the clock after a certain point. It matters that you cross the finish line. Am I right, Victor?
That's right. Absolutely right. Mhm. And it's not always linear, even on a monthly basis, that
Mhm.
to not judge it just in your performance, because not every day is going to be just getting faster, better, everything that it's an even flow, ebb and flow. But some
Right.
days are really good. Some days you might have your energy down. Sometimes you're going to make adjustments, but your consistency is going to pay off big time.
Right. I wanted to share one thing with y'all as we were talking about visualization. There's some breathing techniques as well. And if you don't mind, Victor, I just want to do one that can actually kind of finish our conversation.
Absolutely.
When you put your hand on your heart, it's not just about where you place your hands, it's about what you're touching. This is all scientific, your neural pathways, everything else. And when you finish with a training run, it's very, very simple to just a hand on a heart, could be just one, close your eyes, and we can finish with this if we want to. But this is also very peaceful. It motivates you to calm down after a very hard training or very hard event and simply breathe. And it's just a deep breath in, maybe count to 3 or to 5, and then let it out, mouth open. Let's try it one more time. Let's go. Deep breath in, hand on your heart, and let it out. There's a calmness to it, there's some peace to it. What it does for you is takes you away from the stressful event you may have just finished, the stressful task you may have just done, and the peace of knowing that you did it. The motivation, the preparation, the visualization, and the mindset and the journey, You can let it go now because you've done it. Y'all, I'm so excited to share some of these tips with y'all today. And Victor and I are just so pleased that we can. Any questions you have, we have some good things coming up. I'll let Victor tell you. But anything that you would like us to cover, whether you're a younger runner or a younger athlete, anything that we can help you do, you know how to find us in the show notes. Our contact information is going to be there. Please let us know. We'd love to address any questions that you have.
Yes, absolutely. One thing that I did forget to mention, the importance of sometimes, if you're an unfamiliar course that you're going to go run, being able to go there and see it will help your visualization, because you can picture that hill, you can picture those things, and it's just a little bit of a better help. And I thought about it because this Saturday we are going to go ride the course of the Ironman Tri Cities in Washington.
Okay.
So yeah, and that's part of the reason you want to go, is just to become familiar of what the course looks like, and it's going to help you your visualization and have it go smooth.
So y'all, next week I think we have somebody special coming on. Victor will put it in our feed and in our notes. Y'all tune in. It's going to be interesting. I've got a lot of things I want to learn from our guests next week. So tune in and
Yes.
y'all go and enjoy your journey. Please enjoy your race, your run, your walk, your swim, your bike ride, your event with your family. Labor Day's coming. Plan something special if you have some time off. Y'all just go and enjoy it. Think about it ahead of time. It'll be even better.
Absolutely. Thank you guys for joining us.
Thank you, my friend. I can't wait to see you again. Y'all take care now.
Bye.